Skip Bayless, do you think Steve Spurrier is over or underrated?
Shannon Sharp, I'm going to disqualify myself here. I'm going to be objective here. I think he's underrated, but I know him and I like the heck out of him, and I always have, because this man will tell you exactly what he thinks. Shannon Sharp will tell you exactly what he thinks. I respect that, and I gravitate toward that. But in Steve Spurrier's case, he does not mind and never has minded playing the villain in college football. He almost welcomes the villain role to the point of being a wrestling-type villain. Right. You know exactly what Coach Spurrier, the old ball coach, is thinking on the sidelines as you watch him tonight. If he doesn't like the pass that Thompson just threw, he might just take his visor and throw it in the ground and publicly humiliate that young man, because that's Steve Spurrier. He won a Heisman Trophy, and I think he's an all-time great coach just on his legacy. I'm surprised he hasn't won more than one national championship. But he will embrace the role of doing whatever he wants on the sideline whenever he wants to do it, and in the postgame or maybe the pregame press conference, he might just say anything as a shot at said opponent. Just a couple of quick quotes from the past, some of my favorites. We just had Coach Bowden on. Do you remember the quote about Florida State?
Free shoes.
You know what FSU stands for, don't you? Free Shoes University. Wow, that was post-scandal at Florida State. Then of Georgia, he once said, I sort of always kind of like playing them the second game of the season because you can always count on them having 2 or 3 key players suspended. That's tremendous. And finally, the coup de grace on Peyton Manning when he was at Tennessee. And if you recall, the old ball coach owned Peyton Manning when he was coaching Florida versus Tennessee. Coach Spurrier said, I know why Peyton came back for his senior year. He wanted to be a 3-time star of the Citrus Bowl. Well, that's tremendous.
Yes.
Okay, that's going to turn you into a villain in a sport of college football in which heroes and villains are more prominent among the coaches. That's kind of how we like to view them. I hate your school, I love my school. Well, because of his villain role that he plays, his curmudgeon role sometimes, I think it has hurt his legacy in the minds of some viewers.
I agree, because when you take shots at a guy like a Peyton Manning or Bobby Bowden, who are some of the all-time favorites in college football, people tend to dislike you. Is he Bear Bryant? Absolutely not.
I'm with you.
But, you know, I can see where they talk about the Vince Dooley, because Vince Dooley only won 1 national championship, and he was at the University of Georgia for an extended period of time.
And you grew up in that state.
I grew up in Georgia. Now, in today's coaches, I think it's Nick Saban.
And all the rest?
It's Nick Saban, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if you want Bob Stoops, Les Miles, or whomever, the guy at Ohio State, Urban Meyer, if you want him. But it's right now, it's Nick Saban. There's really no one else is really in his ball game. But I think he's a very, very good coach, because he's coached the Gamecocks to their 3 most successful seasons in the history of that university.
All the last 3.
The last 3 years. He went and he did something that I don't think any other coach at the University of South Carolina could have done. He got Jadeveon Clowney to come there. This was the most sought after recruit when he was coming out, and he got him to stay home. Nick Saban and Les Miles, everybody in the country wanted this guy.
And where did your big brother?
He played at the University of South Carolina.
So you have a good feel for that program and its history, right?
Yes. And so I think he's I think he ranks favorably among all the coaches coaching right now in college football, other than Nick Saban.
I'm with you on this. And I look at South Carolina that you brought up, that they've had a good but not great football history.
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Yes, very fair, very fair.
So the great Lou Holtz preceded Coach Spurrier there. And Lou turned it around. They went from 0-11 to 8-4, and then he had a 9-3, and then they began to tail off again, because in the Southeastern Conference, it's not easy for South Carolina to recruit against those other big boys, right? Okay. So for Spurrier, and he's been there quite a while now, to slowly turn it into 3 straight 11-2s, including the highest AP poll finish ever last year of 4th overall, that's pretty great to me at that school. And I think they have a chance this year, depending on how that young quarterback steps in. He's played a little bit, but we need to see him be the Connor Shaw, the man. Okay, I think they have a chance to make this playoff system, the 14 playoff.
And plus what he was able to do, he was able to keep some of the in-state best players from going to Clemson.
Yep.
Because in years past, all the in-state best players, they went to Clemson. He got the Jadeveon Clowneys. He got the Marcus Lattimores. He got those guys to, okay, come to Carolina. And it showed in how he can recruit, because everybody knows he's a great recruiter. You love playing for his offensive football team when he's at the University of Florida. Had a Heisman Trophy winner. His receivers went very high in the draft in the National Football League, although his quarterbacks and receivers didn't do very much once they got to the NFL. But that's a selling point, the same selling point.
Could Shannon Sharpe have survived under Coach Spurrier if, in fact, he showed you up on the sideline in front of the national TV cameras?
I didn't have a problem. The only problem, my coaches, I was good with coaching. But when Mary Porter, my grandmother, sent me from Glenville, Georgia, 18, she sent me away as a man. You couldn't curse me.
Okay.
But if you want to coach me, you can coach me.
That's well said.
But don't curse me.
And I don't know this for a fact.
yeah,
I'm not sure he's a cursor.
Yeah.
He's just.
But at that point in time, Skip, for me, I went to college. It was a means to an end. I went to college to try to go to the next level. So whatever coach wanted me to do, how long he wanted me to do it, I was going to do it.
So you weren't a problem. He wouldn't have a problem with you at all.
I have no problem with any coach.
Yeah.
Now, once you get to a certain juncture in your life, and all of a sudden you go to one of these coaches, it becomes a little bit more difficult. You hear Michael Strahan, how he had to deal with Tom Coughlin because he wasn't used to that type of coaching.
I get it. Okay, so bottom line, from a distance, as a retired star football player, are you okay with these shots that he took at Florida State, Georgia, and Peyton Manning?
I love it. Okay. I love it.
All right.
I might have got me a couple in there, too.
You might have.